Interplanetary space travel has always been at the forefront of humanity. However, it appears to have been stationary in recent years because, other than the moon, no human has been able to set foot on another planet. So one man had a dream that one day, our species will actually live on Mars. And if Elon Musk has his way, we will establish a colony on Mars within the next several decades, fulfilling the long-held fantasy of many science fiction lovers. However, unlike in science fiction movies and literature, SpaceX is actively making efforts to make this a reality. But a lot of skeptics want to know how. So in today's video, we'll try to answer that. Elon Musk has had a burning desire to settle on Mars for a very long time now. He started his space company, SpaceX, in 2002 with that mindset. Musk was upset that NASA wasn't doing more to send humans to the red planet and worried about the lack of progress being made on a backup plan for mankind, for when the Earth becomes an uninhabitable wasteland. But as we all know, Mars is a harsh, unforgiving, nearly airless rock that orbits the Earth at a distance of 140 million miles. According to Elon Musk, sustaining life on Mars will need 1,000 spacecraft and 1,000,000 tons of vitamin C. If not, you're going to die gradually and painfully. Crazy, right? Are you ready to live on Mars? Well, you have to wait a little bit longer because Musk predicted that it would happen in 2050. Although the suggested timeline for when humans will actually explore Mars has changed over time, we still believe that 2050 is way too optimistic. But before we get into the how, let us first discuss why Elon has chosen to colonize Mars. Over the years, he has provided many reasons why mankind would want to expand into the cosmos. But one theme he frequently mentions is that a life-ending disaster on Earth may be the end of civilization. But mankind could go on if it can establish a foothold on a new planet, like Mars. And in February of this year, in the Starship development report, he stated that it is a crucial endeavor for the future of life itself and that there is always the possibility that something may go wrong on Earth. For example, the dinosaurs not being here anymore. Musk also discussed how, despite being a simple insurance policy, the idea aims to construct something inspirational. He also stated that life cannot just be about problem solving. He went on to say, there must be things that move your heart and inspire you. When you wake up in the morning, you are excited about the future. He also stated that we should spread since we are life's guardians. The species we love cannot construct spaceships, but we can, and we can bring them with us. On paper, their plan is straightforward. Send a few people to the red planet by the end of the decade and gradually establish a colony that can support 1,000,000 people. So, now that you understand why, let's move on to the how. Well, Mars City. You have no idea what it is. Sit back as we enlighten you. As the name implies, this is Musk and SpaceX's plan to construct a huge, flourishing permanent colony on Mars. This would be a metropolis available to everyone, not just scientists and researchers. Don't worry, if you are lucky enough, you could get chosen for a price, but more on that later to come. This metropolis will be self-sustaining and, in theory, could house 1,000,000 people, transforming mankind into a multi-planet civilization. It's Musk's most ambitious dream as of yet, and it might keep him busy for a very long time. And to say it would be hard would be a gross understatement. However, traveling to the colony will very certainly require Turanian immigrants to cover the cost of the flight with their own funds or by taking out a loan. So what that basically means is that if you are interested in going, you would have to pay for your flight with a loan if you cannot afford it. And how would you pay off that loan, you might ask? Well, it's relatively simple, by working in everything from iron foundries to pizzerias. Musk stated at a 2016 conference that labor shortages would last for a long time. In terms of history, this is nothing new. It served as the main means by which early settlers and immigrants from Europe entered the Americas. It would undoubtedly be expensive to make such a shift in the future, but historically speaking, this was also the case. Originally, some people who were unable to pay for the price of a passage to the New World would be forced into indentured labor until the loan was repaid. Because labor will most likely be in limited supply in the colony's early years, an infusion of a large, willing workforce would be a huge advantage to the growing prosperity of the Martian supercolony. And after all of the fundamental necessities such as food, water, and housing for a long-term stay have been established, the next stage would be to establish a bureaucracy to actually run the city. You might be wondering how this might happen. There have been many speculations, but at this point, it's anyone's guess. However, according to the Starlink Internet Services Terms and Conditions, which were revealed in 2020, the city might be free to govern itself on its own terms. However, this appears to be at odds with the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which declares that the country from which the launch originated is in charge of all subsequent space operations. To untangle and come to an agreement on this would take some diplomatic maneuvering, primarily in the colony's early years and particularly if it were a privately funded endeavor. This type of possible problem will need to be resolved very fast because the future Martian metropolis will probably be largely dependent on supplies from Earth. In terms of the city itself, Musk told Popular Mechanics in February 2019 that it would have an outdoorsy, fun feel. "You definitely want some faceted glass dome with a park so you can wander around without a spacesuit," he said. And when asked about how food would be grown, he said that it would be cultivated on a solar-powered hydroponic farm underground or in an enclosed facility. All that sounds really cool, but you might be wondering how much all of this would cost. In short, a hell of a lot of money. Well, before we tell you the estimate, we'd wait 5 seconds for you to give us your answer in the comment section down below. Okay, if you have an answer, let's get started. Musk projected in 2019 that constructing a self-sustaining metropolis on Mars would need approximately 1 million tons of cargo. Assuming that it costs $100,000 per ton to carry freight to Mars with the forthcoming Starship, a Mars metropolis would cost roughly $100 billion. Musk estimates that it will cost at most $10 trillion. To give you an idea of how much the higher estimate is, you could roughly use it to purchase all of the assets in the United Kingdom, which are estimated to be worth $11.8 trillion as of 2020. Additionally, it accounts for around 1/4 of all tangible fiat currency in circulation worldwide, enough to handle a lot of Earth's current troubles. Isn't it crazy? Some may argue that this is way too much money to be spending on a planet as unpredictable as Mars, but if accomplished, SpaceX's Mars City would be a true technical success and might represent a vital step in future-proofing our race for hundreds, if not millions of years. So, if your prediction was off by more than 10 billion on the high end, hit that like button if you have liked the video this far. Now that we've discussed Mars City, let's move on to one of the most crucial components of this journey, the Starship. It is the tallest structure ever built at 120 meters, 394 feet. Musk hopes for a launch sometime later in the year, but it's all dependent on the FAA. It is also the most powerful propulsion system ever built, capable of carrying more than 100 metric tons into Earth's orbit and around 100 people. So, if his goal is to be actualized, he said he would need to build about 1,000 rockets over the span of 10 years. That's going to be about 100 Starships per year. Musk didn't define exactly what the rockets would need to transport to Mars, but it goes without saying that there would need to be a lot of food, water, supplies for construction, tools, and sophisticated life support systems. So he determined that in order to establish a permanent colony, a large fleet of Starships would be required. And since it runs on liquid oxygen and methane rather than rocket propellant like the Falcon 9, explorers may travel to Mars, refuel using supplies discovered on the planet, and return to Earth. It's believed that the ship will make its maiden flight this year. So, if you're wondering whether Elon Musk will travel to Mars, he believes it's more probable than not that he will, but it's unclear if he'll return. In an interview, the 51-year-old CEO stated that there's a 70% possibility that he will relocate there. Do you believe that this dream will ever truly materialize? If so, will you be migrating to Mars and leaving us behind? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.